Okay, so as Faten said, we would now like to introduce our panel members and ask them to come onto stage. So first of all, please welcome Adel Al-Majid, Vice Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Bubiyan Bank from Kuwait. Now, since 2009, Adel has proved his leadership in community banking and has steered Kuwait's youngest bank to great success. He is responsible for re-engineering the bank and strategically positioning it so it has become recognized for quality management and community involvement in keeping the highest Islamic standards. It is the fastest growing institution in the last 3 concurrent periods, and Adel was previously Deputy CEO at the National Bank of Kuwait. Thank you for joining us. Moving on to our second panel member, I'm very happy to introduce Raffaella Bianchi, Head of Customer Experience from DO. Since 2016, Raffaella has managed and coordinated the customer experience transformation with several cross-departmental teams and initiatives across DO. She worked at McKinsey for 15 years as a senior expert in operations and customer operations, and led the global e-care digital effort, and co-led the customer operations and customer experience group and the digital and omni-channel initiative. Raffaella was assistant professor in economics and organization management control systems at Politecnico di Milano. I practiced that. Please welcome her. Thank you very much for joining us. And finally, delighted to introduce Mona Dabha, Director Customer Service for the Retail Division Middle East, MH Al-Shire. Welcome. Mona has been Group Customer Service Director for MH Al-Shire for over 10 years and finds it to be the most challenging and rewarding role where no 2 days are alike. She works with a diverse team of 75 brands across 10 countries. She has built, led, and managed customer service initiatives and programs at all levels and believes passionately in long-term benefits of delivering quality service to both internal and external customers. Ladies and gentlemen, your panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Okay, so this panel, I'm really glad to have all 3 of you. And I think we have to give the photographers a minute. Good. Okay, so we're going to be covering informally, so feel free to step in any moment, the 3 pillars that I spoke about. So I'm going to start with leadership. And my first question is going to be addressed to you, Adel. Bubiyan Bank has been consistently category winner for so many years and country winner for a couple of years so far. And the secret is obviously somewhere in the leadership zone. So I'd love you just to comment about what do you think is the number 1 factor behind this? And you can be as humble as you want.
I just want to say that I tick as Bubiyan all what you said. In your presentation, all of what you said, it's like we can tick it that we are doing it. And so
excellent.
But we say it in very simple Arabic. You presented the usual Faten way. Faten, by the way, I worked with her since 20 years ago. More than 20 years ago. I think what we believe at at Bubiyan.
The MBK are very happy.
36 years at MBK, so 36 years. The sustainable competitive edge, the most sustainable competitive edge in a business is service. Anything else you can copy. Innovation, location, what you said, that's everything true. You can. If you build service within the organization, and usually it's in this case, it's going to come from top, bottom, and by repeating it until it gets boring sometimes, until it's in the DNA of the organization. And this is what we've been doing. And it's not a memo coming from the CEO or the chairman. It's not lip talk, I think. takes for us, I think we started this, and Fatin was with us when we started service quality at MBK 94, 93, 94. 2, 3, 4 years until the organization started looking at it. The whole organization. And we did that in Bobian. Bobian also took us 2 years from the day we started or we took over. By the way, MBK took over Bobian as an Islamic arm, and I went there to manage it. It took us 2 years until we really built the DNA and the service, in the DNA or the structure of Bobian. Now, as you said, the whole management team, what we only talk about is service. It's part of my KPIs. By the way, I have my KPIs, part of my KPIs, it's part of the KPIs of all the executive. Service is a major component. And when we look at customer service, it's external and internal. We measure the departments within the bank that are service provider to others. So we also look at this. All sorts of whatever you think, measuring customer satisfaction, we do. Research, indexes, and all over.
So you're maintaining a focus just in everything that you do.
Yes, and it's very simple. You said it, and I think I was smiling, and we discussed this before. All what I say to the team, I want when Bobian name is mentioned, people smile. Even if they are not our customers. And we want to build in the community that, okay, Bobian is good. It doesn't need that they have to be, they are our customers. So if you look at what Fatin has mentioned, our net promoter score is 75%. The average between banks in Kuwait, 29%. The average is all categories in Kuwait is around 29%. That's 17, I think.
That's true.
For us, it's 75. So 3/4 of our customers, or 75% of our customers, promote us. And this is what I think, but it's top, bottom, and a belief in the management. This is our only competitive edge that we can sustain. Because nobody can copy it in 1 year, 2 years. It's going to take 2, 3, 4 years.
True.
And usually, management change and new people come. As Fatin said, the whole environment change, a new competitor comes. And this is, if you maintain this, and this is what I think MBK is maintaining this, and we are now maintaining, and sometimes we are exceeding them.
So we have the NBK crowd in the corner here. Thank you, Adel. I want to ask, since you're talking about the team and you talked about culture right now, switch to Muna and a question to you. Muna comes from an industry where, Shaya, where you're operating in 80 brands across so many countries, Africa, Europe, Asia, etc. You have 50,000 employees. So the job of getting everyone to understand what it is they want to do is not easy. Can you talk about that?
Well, first, I would like to say hello to everyone and thank you, Fatin, for the invite. I'm very honored to be sitting next to Adel because Adel is my mentor. So I'm here many years after I joined MBK, and I'm very pleased to meet you, Rafaela, so thank you very much. Fatin, in all the way that you think about it, it has to be, again, what Adel said and what you repeated. It's doing it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, from the very start. When you recruit team members, when you recruit the right team members, when you induce them into the business. At Shaya, the trick is always to keep the balance between what the international and the host brands standards are and the Shaya standards are. But when it comes to service standards, it's about the repetition of the method.
Correct.
Like you say it, you walk it, you talk it, you write it, you digitalize it.
The habit.
It has to be in all channels of communication, and as they say, probably by the 8th or the 9th time, it starts to pick up. And it starts to be the way that we work things together. So,
yeah, okay. I'm going to now move on to Rafaela, who you are. I don't envy you being in mobile operating industry. you are in the middle of the, the tornado where change is happening all the time, technology is shifting all the time, and you're dealing with such different customer groups from, the guy that's practically illiterate, who's using a phone, to, sophisticated people that are using data all the time. So again, the challenge here is, how do you build a system? So we're talking about process now on the hard side. So how do you build a system that ensures that this happens day in and day out? Muna talked about repetition. Adel talked about the role of leadership, and I'd love to hear from you the role of, you being part of the setting up the procedures, I guess.
So it's sad to see that the mobile sector is one at the bottom of the list. It's not only here. Now I'm wearing my hat as former McKinsey. The telecom sector is always at the bottom of all the customer satisfaction categories. And therefore, it's a challenge what I am doing in Do. And I have to say that I totally recognize what has been said before. So I joined Do 1 year ago, inspired by my CEO, who was literally saying, we want to be distinctive in customer experience. And he was walking the talk from the beginning. He inspired me, he stole me from McKinsey to bring me in Do, and then we started a journey. And it is a journey. As you saw, we are at the bottom of the category. For all the telco sector, is a journey. But what drives us is the top management. Now, one important thing is, it's not only what the CEO say, but everybody needs to know where to go. And this comes the measurement portion of it. So where do we start from? What I keep saying internally to Do is, as we know what builds the revenue, the cost, the EBITDA, inside out and outside in, it's about the ARPU, it's about the customer, it's how much they spend in which region, in which segment. Everybody should know all the little details of what build the customer satisfaction. In our case, is NPS. So which are the main elements of the customer satisfaction, and what is very important? What is more important? Is more important the call center, or is more important the retail? And within that, is more important the waiting time, or is more important the resolution time? There are tons of factors, and if you don't know where to start from, you start dealing with every little things and diluting your impact. So one of the things that we are doing inside is educating all the top management and all the employees on what really drives NPS for us, which are the key drivers and the key important elements. Because only by focusing on few things and going in the same direction and executing it, we'll start making the difference. So this is where we start from, and we build on it. And for example, tomorrow, for the next 2 days, going back to leadership, all my executives are engaged in a customer experience training, because we all need to walk the talk and be the role model inside.
Yeah. Yeah, and I appreciate Rafaela is flying in and out today, just simply, she wanted to be here tonight, and I really appreciate that. And she's committed to being there tomorrow as well. I'm going to go back to Adel, a question to you. So I know that you're setting the direction, but can you talk about how many role models in the executive team you have? How can you all be like examples of service excellence? Because it's one thing to be like a Steve Jobs or a Walt Disney, but how do you get everyone else to become like that?
First, I want to go just back again and just to cover this other thing. When we took over Bobian, I think the way it was, the positioning of the bank. So Bobian was not a well-known bank. So the first emphasis was more of it's MBK owned and it's Islamic. But as we go, these things has now, people know now we are Islamic, they know we are part of MBK. Now we're looking at 3 things. One is innovation, of course, service, and people. And these are the 3 that we said we can sustain. Differentiator. For us, it's customer, and I'll go to back Rafaela, and she reminded me, and we're looking at the people themselves. And for us right now, we have McKinsey do for us what they call it Organization Health Index. Because I think you mentioned just now in your presentation, that I think the new theme now, if the team that you are managing are not happy, they will not serve the customers the way you want. And humans, they have what they call it intelligence, that they will know and they will notice that the guy or the person in front of them is service them while he's happy or not. Is it a job? And you can see it sometimes. A very yellow smile that you know that someone told this guy to smile or whatever, or is it coming from him? So we try to measure this, and surprisingly for us at the beginning, right now we have all the confidence that within McKinsey we are the top within the Middle East, and we are the top 25 worldwide, and as per their data that they have. And we go, and you said the team, the whole team, not only the service quality team or the customer experience team, we as management, and I want to show you something, that for the values that we have 5 values, by the way, within the organization. The first one is customer care. The second one is the team or the staff. The third one is innovation. The fourth one is integrity. The fifth one is teamwork. So customer one, that's the external customer, internal customers too, our staff. And all of us, all the team has what we call it evaluation, values here. And it covers the values. Like for me, it's like I have customer focus. If I walk around, and my team, all of them have, what we call it customer focus. If we see something from one of our team or customer staff doing something, I just give him this and I sign it for him and I give it to him. If it's
appreciation,
employee focus, if he was doing something for. If it's innovation, if it's customer, that's 5, I think. What this will do, I'll tell you something. If he gets this and I sign it for him, I say, this is Adil, you did a good job in any of this. This can put it on his Oracle system. For his KPIs, he will get 3 points on. So his KPIs this month will go, which is from 100, it will boost it by 3%.
Interesting.
So everybody within the organization, everybody on this table now, and plus so many others, have these ones, and we're wandering around. It's not we're going there. Usually, the old CEO is like, if you are smiling, then you are soft.
That's true.
You have to come to these organizations shouting, firing, and it was servicing a different kind of staff. The new staff right now that we get it, dedicated, now they are looking at Google, looking at these type of employers and try to see whether we can give them these things rather than like what we're talking about or what mentioned is like, okay, this is your scorecard, you do this, we'll reward you, if don't, we will fire you. That was that's the old thing. Now it doesn't.
Do you do that at Shay? I'm just curious.
Interestingly enough, we have exactly the same thing. We have our 9 values. We have the think big, act small, be you. We have a vision, and the cards are the same, but we're more economical. We have 1 card, and we kind of customize it. We don't have that.
Shy,
So we have the card, and it's digital because, as you said, we have 90 brands now. So we're moving to the 90 brands, 19 countries. And how do you have the different languages, the different cultures? There is 192 countries in the world, and I think we hire 187 nationals.
Wow.
So you can call it a small UNESCO. So the cards are very simple. They're very pictorial. They're given to everyone in the organization, not just the management. Team members can give it to team members. Managers can give it to.
So they're like digital tokens?
Do you have it?
I have it in my wallet, yes. But the thing
She's
is,
talking only. We don't know.
the thing
how
is,
she's made
the thing is, we
it.
have
Bring
it.
your phone and just see it.
Probably we have it digitally. We have it digitally, so it's an e-card, and we do send it and we reward it. Now, the rewards that we have, I think it's very important to understand that, like you said, Fatan, it's not only financial, it's non-financial and it's financial. It's the recognition, it's the thank yous, but again, also the financials. So we combine
Yes.
both of them are there, and we do it day in and day out. So that's like very, very similar. The wonderful thing is, I think I have to mention that when you have almost 80 brands, international brands from all over the world, you pick and you learn from the best, and you kind of create that success story. So you kind of have the best coming from Starbucks, the best coming from Cheesecake Factory, from Boots, from Mothercare, from American Eagle. I mean, you name it. The brand is there and the learning continues to grow. So that's very rich and enriching.
I wanted to ask Rafaela, because you reminded me, you talk about technology. So how do you use technology to kind of drive innovation and make sure that you're customer excellence focused? I mean, because you are in technology.
Well, we are in the technology area, but unfortunately the telecom sector has a very old backend system, which is one of the reasons why it's in the bottom. So technology is changing fast, the backend are not changing so fast. So how do we cope with that? So from one side, we are trying to engage all our front end in a smart way, because telco has a lot, like in banking, has a lot of call center and a lot of branches everywhere. So we are talking about thousands of agents. In one way, we need to engage them because they are our front end and they make our customer experience. They know why our customers are happy, why our customers are unhappy, and what they need. So we are trying through the technology to engage them to get our new ideas from them. So they cooperate with us in let's say, listing top ideas, and we reward the best one that the idea went through with a breaking through innovation. We are also inviting them in focus group and building with us the new change. So for example, we are redesigning some journeys with the customers. We are redesigning some experience. We bring them from the front end with us to work with us on this. And they also know which are the elements of the technology that makes the change. So they know what is better to move to self-service, what is better to move to digital, what is better to keep live. Because nowadays, a lot of companies are moving toward the digital side. But the human touch is also important. So there are some interactions that are worth to move digital, and some other where the empathy and the emotional side is important. And those are the ones that need to remain within the interaction in the front end. So we are engaging them constantly, and we are not there yet. I think you are really inspiring me, and I am looking forward to your answer to this. But we are starting involving them more and more in the way we do innovation.
One of the things we made with the OHI that I said is that the team or the staff or our employees asked for to meet everybody and to interact with others. So that was like 4 years ago. 4 years ago until now, every Tuesday, 8 staff of Bobian Bank comes and have coffee with me at 7:30 in the morning, randomly.
Punishment or reward?
Reward. The first 5 minutes, they think it's punishment. They're coming 7:30, very early, and they come to the office. And why 8? Because my office only has 8, so it's not like we have 10 seats, 8, and when myself and head of HR were there. And the 5 minutes, they're tensed. But then within 10 minutes, now we know how to make them.
Yeah.
And amazingly is that what you get the feedback from them, what's happening. And you're saying build the culture through the system, through these guys who are like maybe a teller or an agent, who knows that service quality. طبعا, of course, we repeat. After a while, me and Adil became, like puppets because we say the same. We had tried to change it, but if every Tuesday you say the same. Regarding the technology, what we use is very simple at Bobian. Customers who interact with us, and we know them because they do a transaction, we send them an SMS. Very simple, smile, the usual smile or flat or angry.
Three faces.
And usually the team there, the people who are not happy, and now simultaneously he just says, no, I'm not happy, call back.
Yeah.
What is it? So these are the things that now with the technology it's available and very simple.
It's very simple.
There is no need for sophistication. Of course, maybe the sheer size of their customers is different to ours.
Yeah.
Now we are positioning Bobian as like more upmarket, not mass.
Yeah.
If I can build on top of what he said, because also we do the same. After every interaction, there is a TNPS survey that we send to the customers. The journey we are in now is to create a feedback loop immediately with the agents. So that if the customer rates you high or low, the agent immediately gets the feedback. This creates immediately a learning and a faster continuous improvement.
Very good idea.
It will look as if it's staged, but it's not, because Ashaya Group does the same thing exactly. And we employ the iPads in the store, the IVR in the call center, the messaging. We have like about 200,000 customers that kind of continue to tell us what they think. And we've always linked that to a callback, always. But what we are piloting right now, and this is really, to me, is the frontier, is to create those huddles and that ownership at the store, is to create that ability to respond at the front end of the business. So really, the real success is for them to be engaged. If I can
You mean to own this, so to invite people to give feedback, or
the feedback is happening,
Okay.
right? And for years, we've been directing the unhappy customers to a call center where an unhappy customer is dealt with right away, and we try to kind of address the issue. But what we're really finding out is that with over 3,500 stores and expanding, the success is for stores to own it. So you create that huddle and that information and that technology to the store themselves, and the store starts to kind of respond to the customers rather than having a central part. And it's all about that engagement pattern that you keep talking about every time we meet and every time we talk. It's the customer service or the excellence through engaging internal customers. I remember a story. I've worked in MBK for about 9.5 years. I've missed that half year before I got my indemnity. I still remember that. So I worked in MBK, and I happened to kind of, by accident, by chance, or by luck, or by wonderful fate, be part of the Shaya Group. When I was first interviewed, the CEO said something, and I think that was very key, and it kind of repeats the same message. He said, whatever you've learned in 20 years in customer service, I don't want you to apply it to external customers for the first 18 months. I want you, as we start this journey, and that was back in 2006, 2007, I want to start the journey with the internal customer. And to me, that was music, because here is the most senior member in the team, your CEO, saying that I'm going to hire you to do internal customer service. I don't really want to address any of the issues of the externals. I want to start first by building that engaged member of the team. And the part that I think I always remember is that when we started the first core, which was 4 members in the team today is about 120, different countries, different places, and dotted line to other regions. But what I want to say is the core team, which was 4 people in 2008, we had different names in the organization, but the one that was closest to heart was, go talk to the happy people. So, and sometimes it was the cake people, the balloon people, the people who have celebrations all the time. So having this culture of engaging and celebrating, and just like, you know, the cheerleading of positivity, and that actually kind of influences and impacts others. So it's very, very important.
We have 2 minutes left, I'm told. So if each of you could just tell me if there's one challenge that you're really afraid of, what is it?
Afraid of?
Afraid of, yeah. That's tough in an obstacle for building a culture of excellence.
But
No fear. Yeah, fear is nothing.
given I am at the bottom, I
Yeah, yeah.
have definitely something to fear.
Contribute, yeah.
One of the challenges we are facing is to keep everybody coordinated, going in the same direction.
Yeah.
Because as I was saying to some of the
Sustainability.
council persons, our top management already shifted and is walking the talk now. But to move all the boat in the same direction in a coordinated way, it's the major challenge I'm facing, which is all the mindset and behavior change internally, which goes back to your topic there.
Yeah, yeah.
So if we want to win the customer experience, we need to win first the mindset and behavior
Sustainability.
and the sustainability internally.
Correct.
This is the major
Yeah.
shift that is happening,
Yeah.
at least in
Yeah.
Dunao.
Now for us, is the game is keep changing, not
Keep
service.
changing.
The
Yeah,
clip is
yeah.
keep changing.
Evolve.
These new small companies or big companies, Apple Pay and others, you don't know. And for us, it's like
Bitcoin.
5 years from now, we don't know. We don't know, really, and e-banking. And the question that I always tell, and we tell also our consultant, it's like 5 years down the road, how would the branch be? They're talking about now, I was reading a report just before I came, it's like cash will disappear maybe in 10 years.
Yep.
There is no cash.
No cash.
And the infrastructure that builds the cash maybe will disappear. The ATMs, whatever, all these will just vanish. So these things that keep changing the industry, and there is no need tomorrow for an account. A card is going to be on mobile.
Correct.
Apple Pay, if it comes, will bypass all the banks. They will go straight.
So,
They will compete with you, something, Apple Pay or Amazon, whatever. We don't know where. This is our nightmare.
yeah. So change.
I would say fear is not there. I think it's the challenge, and I always think of the continuous challenge is the evolving and the changing customer. So if you think of the people who are 18 to 34 today, and those are the customers of tomorrow, and how they interact with banks, banks or retailers or telecoms or anything else, this has been the biggest challenge, Faten. They're changing. The way they communicate is changing. How do you turn a business from multi-channel to omni-channel? How do you turn a business that is smarter and more efficient so the customer feels that it's effortless and it's easy to do business? I think that's the tomorrow that we're all preparing for, and that's, I think, the biggest thing that is out there is like the customer is not the same customer we know. Probably when we first hired, writing an email and waiting 48 hours to respond was perfectly fine. I mean, now with everything that's happening, even 4 hours is too long.
Yeah.
I think that's a challenge.
Yeah.
The
Well, I
challenge,
wanna-
challenge for retail also, and I'm saying, not a shy or everybody, is that direct
Yes.
contact to
Yeah.
the
Their
main
world
source.
is changing
the main
too.
source.
So we're so, yep.
Yeah, their
And
world is
right
changing.
now, these Carriage and others change the whole game, and Amazon and others change the whole game.
That's true.
And not and the brand owners are now changing the game of their sponsors or their agent in this country. They're not before. If you go to buy something, they will tell you, "Oh, go. We have an agent in Kuwait. Go and buy from it." Now, with this Amazon, whatever, Alibaba, whatever, if the agent in Kuwait, for instance, or in UAE cannot sell, if he comes to me, I'm going to sell direct.
Correct.
and I'm gonna say direct. So this is like the more these things changes, the delivery and others changes, I think this will affect the brands within the country.
So that's why we have to make sure that our ecosystem includes innovation all the time and self-questioning. I really want to thank the three of you. I really appreciate it. I think the feedback was amazing, and I think it's very good advice for all companies. So thank you.
Thank you, Fatima.